Most people live believing that kindness alone will carry them through life. That if they're patient, good-hearted, and forgiving, life will eventually reward them. But life doesn't work that way. See, being kind is good, but it's not enough. Because in this world, kindness without strength is weakness. People will take your patience for permission. They'll see your silence as surrender. They'll take advantage of your empathy because you never learned to guard it with power. You weren't sent here to be a doormat. You were sent here to build depth, discipline, and dignity. You think being kind will save you, but kindness without boundaries only burns you. You think being humble will protect you, but humility without confidence makes you invisible. You think being patient will earn you everything, but patience without action is procrastination dressed as virtue. The truth is, life rewards balance. It rewards the ones who are kind and assertive, humble but bold, patient yet persistent. The world doesn't respect softness alone. It respects those who know when to stand their ground, when to walk away, and when to fight for what matters. So yes, be kind, but let your kindness have edges. Be humble, but let your humility have confidence. Be patient, but let your patience have motion. Because being kind is good, but being strongly kind changes everything. Life will test you, not through comfort, but through confrontation. It will throw you into rooms where your voice shakes, where people misunderstand your silence, where your effort is overlooked, and where your loyalty is mistaken for weakness. That's where you're built. That's where you learn that being kind is not about always saying yes. It's about knowing when to say no with peace in your heart. Being kind doesn't mean allowing disrespect. Being kind doesn't mean shrinking so others can shine. Being kind means you refuse to become bitter, even after being betrayed. Because true strength isn't loud. It's calm. It's not about revenge. It's about self-control. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. The day you stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand you, the day you stop chasing validation and start protecting your energy, that's the day your kindness becomes power. You become a storm in silence, unbothered, unmoved, unshaken. You stop trying to please the world and start living aligned with your values. You realize the goal was never to be liked by everyone. The goal was to be respected by yourself first. So yes, keep your heart soft, but build your spine out of steel. Keep your soul pure, but sharpen your mind with discipline. Because the world needs your light, but it also needs your fire. There will come a time when your peace will cost you people, when your growth will make others uncomfortable, when your silence will make those who once controlled you question their power. That's when you'll know you're evolving. Because growth doesn't look glamorous. It looks lonely. It looks like deleting old habits, distancing from old circles, and rebuilding your mindset from the ground up. You'll lose people you thought were permanent, but you'll find yourself, and that's the greatest win of all. See, most people never understand this truth. You can't carry everyone with you to your next level. Some were only meant for the chapter where you were small, scared, and unsure. They weren't built to see the version of you that's disciplined, grounded, and unbothered. And that's okay, because evolution demands separation. You don't owe everyone an explanation for your peace. You don't have to justify your boundaries to anyone. The more you respect your space, the more life respects you. The quieter you become, the louder your energy speaks. The less you chase, the more you attract what aligns with your purpose. So stop fearing distance. Start honoring direction. You're not losing people, you're losing confusion. You're not becoming cold, you're becoming clear. This is what real kindness looks like. Not people-pleasing, not being passive, but walking with calm conviction. Because true peace isn't found in pleasing others. It's found in mastering yourself. There's a point in life where being nice starts costing you too much. Your time, your boundaries, your peace. And that's when you realize, not everyone deserves your kindness. See, kindness is sacred. It's not meant to be handed out to those who drain you. It's meant to be shared with those who value it. You can be kind and still say no. You can be kind and still walk away. You can be kind and still protect your peace with fire. Kindness doesn't mean tolerating everything. It means choosing what's worth your energy. You're allowed to be the calm one without being the weak one. You're allowed to forgive without reopening the door. You're allowed to love people from afar and still wish them well. That's maturity. That's growth. That's wisdom built from pain. Because the ones who used to drain you will eventually notice. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer argue, you understand. You no longer chase, you attract. That's when your kindness becomes rare, because it's rooted in strength, not fear. You start realizing that being kind is not about proving you're good. It's about choosing to stay gentle in a world that tried to make you hard. You stop fighting for attention and start focusing on alignment. You stop needing to be understood and start loving your own peace. Because in the end, the strongest version of you is the one that can stay kind, not because life is easy, but because you refused to let it make you cruel. One day, you'll look back and realize the moments that broke you were actually the ones that built you. The rejections, the betrayals, the losses, they weren't punishment. They were preparation. Because the truth is, you can't become strong without resistance. You can't grow roots in comfort. And you can't become wise without first being wounded. Pain is the silent teacher that humility listens to. It strips away illusions, exposes what's real, and forces you to rebuild from honesty. And that's when you start seeing the difference between those who look strong and those who are strong. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't post. It doesn't need to prove. Real strength shows up in how you carry yourself after chaos, in how you stay calm when disrespected, in how you keep giving your best even when no one is clapping. That's what it means to be unshakable, not perfect, not emotionless, but unbroken. See, being kind is easy when life is kind to you, but being kind when life tests you, that's mastery. When you learn to love without attachment, to give without expecting, to speak truth without fear, you reach a level of peace no storm can touch. Because real kindness is not weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's the power to stay centered when everything around you tries to pull you apart. And that's when you understand. Life doesn't reward the loudest. It rewards the most disciplined. The ones who move with quiet power and clear purpose. There comes a time when your peace will feel unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, because for so long you've lived in survival mode, mistaking chaos for normal. You were used to explaining yourself, used to fixing what others broke, used to chasing closure that never came. But healing teaches you something different. It teaches you that peace doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you've stopped participating in things that destroy you. You stop responding to negativity. You stop arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop overgiving just to feel worthy, and slowly you realize your silence is your superpower. Because not everything deserves a reaction. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every loss is actually a loss. When you stop reacting to every storm, the storms lose power over you. You start valuing your time, your energy, your focus. And that's when your life changes direction. People will say, you've changed. And they're right. You have. You stopped trying to save everyone and started saving yourself. You stopped chasing love and started becoming love. You stopped explaining your worth and started embodying it. That's what real evolution looks like. Not louder, but lighter. Not busier, but more intentional. Not harder, but wiser. And in that stillness, you finally understand. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to be whole. At some point, you stop craving attention and start craving peace. You stop needing to be seen, and instead, you focus on being aligned. Because the moment you choose peace over drama, clarity over confusion, and purpose over popularity, you become untouchable. You realize that solitude isn't loneliness, it's elevation. It's the place where your spirit breathes again. You start seeing that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone can handle your growth. Not everyone should walk the next chapter with you, because the next version of you requires silence, focus, and self-respect. You begin to understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're gates that protect your peace. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing yourself. You don't have to apologize for evolving. The truth is, the more you grow, the more alone it feels. But that solitude? That's where your strength is forged. You're not missing out. You're leveling up. And that quiet space you once feared becomes your power source. Because that's where you learn. Real happiness was never out there. It was always in here, within your own calm, disciplined, grounded presence. The world will try to tell you that you have to be loud to matter, that you have to shout to be seen. But the truth is, still waters run deep. Power isn't always noise. Confidence isn't always displayed. And success doesn't need to be announced. The ones who move in silence are the ones who've learned peace is more valuable than praise. They don't argue, they align. They don't chase, they attract. They don't prove, they become. That's what being truly kind and truly strong looks like. Because when you master your emotions, you master your reality. When you stop fighting for validation, you start creating from vision. When you stop reacting, you start rising. So let the world misunderstand you. Let them think you've gone distant or changed. You're not changing. You're becoming. You're shedding everything that no longer matches your purpose. And in that quiet transformation, you'll find something no amount of attention can buy. Peace that stays. At the end of it all, you'll realize the goal was never to be perfect. It was to be present, to show up for yourself when no one else did, to keep going when quitting felt easier. Because greatness isn't built overnight. It's built in the moments when no one's watching. When you choose discipline over distraction, faith over fear, focus over comfort. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission, and you give it to yourself. You stop asking for signs, and you become the sign. You stop hoping life gets easier, and instead you get stronger. And one day, everything that once felt heavy will make sense. You'll see that every challenge was carving you into someone unshakable. Every loss was redirecting you toward alignment. Every delay was divine timing, because life was never happening to you. It was happening for you. You were never behind. You were always being built. So no, being kind alone isn't enough. Because kindness without strength gets crushed. But kindness with power, that changes the world. Be kind, but don't be naive. Be loving, but don't be blind. Be humble, but don't let anyone mistake it for weakness. Carry light, but walk with fire. Forgive, but don't forget the lessons. And always remember, your peace is your proof of growth. You don't need to shout that you've changed. Your calm will say it for you. Your discipline will show it. Your peace will prove it. So stand tall, move with grace, speak with purpose, and live with quiet power. Because in a world that rewards noise, being kind, focused, and unshakable is the loudest thing you'll ever do.